Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first GDI webinar of 2021. I hope everyone managed to have a really good Christmas, a really good New Year, and everyone, especially in the UK, is doing well throughout these new lockdown times. And, you know, positive news about vaccines and stuff. So hopefully we'll be all together in person. Fingers crossed before the end of the year, but I'll say that optimistically. Anyway, today I'm joined by Michael and Leigh. Michael from HubStars and Leigh from today she's from Tabby, the cat person's dating app, but you also know her from Dig, the dog person's dating app. Today, the pair of them will be talking about how they launched Tabby, the spin-off app from Dig for cat people during lockdown, and with help from HubStars, the HubStars $1 million dating project. Leigh has told us that she might have to shoot off a little bit early because she's getting her vaccine. So thank you, Leigh, doing your bit. That's great. So if everyone just sort of pops questions in the comment section as we go through, she'll try and answer them if she can. If not, me and Michael do our best to sort of go over everything at the end. And if you think of some questions after the webinar's finished, feel free to email me and I'll pass them on and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. But yeah, I think that's it from me. So I'm going to turn off my camera and my microphone and I'll let Leigh and Michael take it away. Thank you very much, guys, for taking part.
Thanks, Dominic. I'll say hi. I'll maybe Leigh, I'll let you say hi, and then I can stick on the slide presentation.
Sure. Hi, everyone. It's great to see you representing cat people today. Like Dom said, you're normally from Dig, the dog person's dating app, but excited for y'all to hear more about the creation of Tabby. Thanks, Michael.
Okay, let me try my best with technology here, and hopefully you can now see my screen. Leigh, can you be my beta tester? Right, okay. Nothing else has changed. So I'm here to talk about the launch of Tabby, the cat person's dating app. I'm kind of telling the story from kind of the infrastructure, kind of developers, kind of end of things, and Leigh can talk more about the kind of the branding and consumer side of things. And then some of the challenges and interesting things we found about doing all this kind of in a bit of a lockdown. So Leigh, again, I don't want to butcher your kind of creation story, but Leigh was already involved with a business called Dig, and they had their own dog dating app. And one of our guys was over back in 2019. Actually, probably before that, I'll just tell you a little bit about why they thought dating for cats was a good thing. They were already doing it for people with dogs, and they thought, oh, that's kind of interesting. Is that going to be something that kind of appeals to other people? And they kind of reached out and they kind of figured out pretty quickly that there's definitely a market for dating and cat people, and it can be a bit of an issue. So we've just got a little short video to maybe explain some of the pain that people have kind of dating when they've got cats. Just one second, and we'll have Nathan here will explain it to you if this loads.
You know, I used to wait to tell girls that I had cats because I got sick of them telling me, oh, I only like dogs, or ew, cats are gross. But now it's my icebreaker because I realize if you can hate a face like this, then you must be exhausting to please and a complete chore of a person to date. I'll stick with my easygoing people that don't care what kind of pet I have. They're way more fun. Let's go, baby.
So anyway, hopefully that's a good summation of maybe some of the emotional reasons why people are interested in meeting other cat owners or people who like cats, because it can be a bit of a polarizing kind of issue for some people. So Leigh was busy promoting Dig in Santa Monica back in 2019, I think at another GDI event at Shutters on the Beach, which was lovely. One of our guys somehow wangled going there on expenses and trying to justify his Disneyland trip. He spoke to everyone he could, and that included Leigh at the time. And he said, well, we've got this platform, we can do all this stuff, we can create you a kind of white label-y type site. And Leigh took a look at it and went, thanks, but we're all good, in a really kind of nice way. But yeah, she let us down easy. and we just went about our merry way. But I think one of the things she pointed out was that, what she was looking to achieve and what was available in terms of the kind of product offering we had at the time. My goodness, the office dishwasher's just finished. Hang on. That was awkward, right? Back then, we had kind of a white label style solution where we could give you a certain number of kind of predefined niches. A lot of the experience was kind of locked down. It was quite effective for what it is. But if you're really interested in having quite custom features and customized branding and user experience, it's not really as flexible. So we then had a look and said, well, listen, okay, well, customer acquisition and kind of landing experiences, is within your control, but as a system, your onboarding, how the user enjoyed, basically uses the product and interacts day to day, and their kind of general satisfaction and their intention is pretty much out of our partners' hands, and those back much more in our control. So I think for that reason, and quite rightly, Leigh said, no, thanks, but we're not really all that interested. So they played on with their own development team. And then kind of in the background, we've been working on our own platform, and we have been this for 3 or 4 years now. We said, well, we think we've addressed a whole bunch of these problems. So last year we met, I think it was just before the lockdown, actually, or in February. I think we got back about 3 days before they shut down the airspace from the UK to the US. But we kind of had a conversation and said, listen, I think we can address a whole bunch of these issues. And I'm sure Leigh will deny this, but anytime you've got an outsourced development team, as I like to tell her, it's a little bit like driving a truck into a swamp. You make a great splash at the start, but after that, it can be slow going. So I don't know if that's true, and I'm sure you would deny it, but we had a bit of a meeting in mind. So, well, maybe we can do this. We can lower your operating cost as a business, and we can deliver to you kind of those features that you want in terms of much more control of your user experience, and basically in how people are interacting with your product, more in line with your kind of brand vision. So the way we went about that was with a new platform, it's much more a la carte as to what you can use and customize. So it's much easier to adapt to the experience you want to deliver, the brand voice, for example. So Leigh can tell you that they have a very definite Dig voice and a Tabby voice. It's very pun laden as well, I might add, but it keeps it entertaining. So there's a lot of things that we went back to the drawing board and looked at, well, what are the specific interests that people have in these markets? How can we customize many more of the touch points that people have. So we went through, we looked at the audience first, and decided really we kind of wanted to start up with a new member pool and identify those kind of interests. So people can specify, for example, that I allow my cat my furniture, or sleeps in the bed with me, and maybe that's not something you're going to find out on Tinder, for example. That's not really a key piece of information, but it might be in the cat world. So having kind of identified the audience, we then went on to then kind of using the platform, some of the tools to then completely customize the user experience. So anytime you're trying to interact with any feature, we can change the language of those messages. We can change the imagery, we could change the fonts, the colors, everything else to do with it. So all of the backend is now configurable with these CSS and JSON files. So don't worry if you don't know what it is, but it's almost like English is all you need to know. So even if you're semi-tech literate, you kind of figure things out, like, okay, this is this button name. I want to change the text on this button, for example, or I want to change the color on this button, and it's all kind of laid out. So you can go in and change that. So depending on the level of effort you want to go into to customizing it, there's a huge amount of stuff that can be done in terms of choosing the features you want and customizing how they all appear to users. So moving on from that, we then customize all of the communications. And here we see a good example of the Tabby voice and some of those puns. So actually, I hope I'm not covering the screen, am I, with this? So I'm starting a little Zoom panel. I don't know if it's covering the screen for you.
You're good. People can move your face around. Don't worry.
Okay. So there's options of notifications and emails when your profile's approved, when you getting a message from somebody, and all of that we've now customized and is available to customize for brands, which again was something we weren't able to do before. Oops. So, and in addition to that, we basically put it all into an app and put it in the App Store and on Android and Apple, and also as web-based. So that was a fun journey as well. But again, that's something else that we're now in a position to be able to do. There's a couple more hoops you've got to jump through for apps, as I'm sure anyone who's on here who's dealing with app stores can tell you. It's lots and lots of fun-ish. But it certainly is a good route to market, and it helps again kind of boost your user retention. So by the way, thanks John Kershaw if you're on there. He helped us out with some of the app side of things. So and then in addition, we're in a position to offer kind of custom support for people. So we can give cash now with our $1 Million Dating Project for up to 12 months for new ideas. Product development, there's all the stuff we've tried before that we can tell you about, which is kind of good kind of mentoring advice. And we have an advertising team. So in cases where we're giving you advertising cash, we have a team to help ensure that those campaigns are well optimized and very much focused on return on investment. So, and hopefully, Leigh will tell you we're at least somewhat flexible and willing to develop new features and stuff. So there's a few things you can't customize, and that's security, data protection, taxes, and user safety. But that's probably what you want. So a lot of this really boring stuff you really do want to get right. So all of that stuff is just kind of baked in, and it's largely invisible to our partners. But we kind of take on the job of understanding that, and it is an area where there's new sales taxes coming, every month, or new data protection legislation. So California being a good recent example. So it's good to have a partner who's on top of that for you. So I just want to maybe get Leigh to jump in and talk about some of the really cool content that they've added in. So Leigh and her sister Casey are two fantastically passionate people when it comes to their brand, how their brand is perceived. In fact, even my presentation I sent it to Casey, and she was like, that just won't do. So she just reformatted all over the stuff. So if anything looks nicely laid out, it's because of her. So if you don't mind, I'll hand over to you, Leigh, and I can maybe you could talk through a couple of these slides as we're going next, just on the deals and some of the other features.
Absolutely. So yeah, what's most exciting about having this niche opportunity in the cat world and in the dog world is our opportunity to really embed ourselves in the pet community in different ways. And from the dating app side and from the business side, you've got the emotions of people who are looking to find love for the rest of their life. And then on top of that, the excitement and love that they already have at home with their animals. And so you're adding these two things together in this world where people are excited to do as much as they can for their pets and for their dogs. So interacting with the app in a way that has, if it has advertisements, if we're able to build that in a way that's really providing value to the user, because it's something that's truly going to benefit something they already love, then we've really got a leg up. And so from the beginning, we spoke with Michael and Andy and their team saying, you know, one thing we don't want to ever lose is this opportunity to provide extra value for our pet people on the apps. And Deals, what you have up here, is a really great example. We're, like I said, really embedded in the pet community. We go city by city across the US right now and really consider ourselves a hub of pet interaction as we're working with different companies on the ground level. And those different companies across the country want to get in front of people who are so emotionally connected on our app because, like I said, you're in the middle of that emotional time when you're looking for love and you care so deeply about your animal as well. So the opportunity to show deals, we have either daily deals or other aspects like events. We not only throw our own events across the country, but especially right now during COVID times, people are really trying to be creative and interactive to get people back out to pet stores in a safe way or at dog parks in a safe way. We have the opportunity to provide a venue, the app itself, to promote that for our partners and our friends in the pet industry that we've made over the past few years. And the daters, of course, love it. They want the opportunity to attend an event, whether it's at home with their cat, because the cats can't go with you, or out in person. We also, like Michael's showing you here, we've got different articles. So different pet companies can help you come up with cat-friendly date ideas or giving you an update on the newest information about COVID and cats and COVID and dogs, for example. And we can share that information directly with our users and really tie in, like Michael said, the B2B aspect by tying in all of our pet partners with our users. The survey was really interesting. We hadn't considered that before, but this was something that Michael and his team already had on their platform. And we reached out to our pet industry partners and asked if this is something they'd be interested in, and they loved it. They loved the idea that something about their product would be able to inspire conversations with people on Tabby. And so this is an example survey that could be sponsored. You know, why do I need cat hair remover? The number one reason I need cat hair remover is because my cat is allowed on the table. If that's sponsored, that's really interesting. You tie that to a brand, but then also it's published in a place that everyone can see the survey results from everyone across Tabby, and you start seeing that conversations are spurring because of it. So that was really exciting, something we hadn't considered that their platform enabled us to get started with right away.
Cool. Do you want to say a few words about the launch? I mean, you were quite heavily involved.
Yes. So everyone who's seen me speak about Dig, we have a heavy media presence and a lot of focus on the press, and the press loves animals, surprising. So we did a lot of work on the PR side before we launched. About a month before we launched Tabby, we were on Good Morning America, we were on Fox News, we were in People Magazine, and a big part of it was because of this guy you see right here, Nathan, the cat lady. He has joined as our Tabby brand manager and director of cat integration. Along with Sterling, the Trap King Davis, who runs a trap neuter release nonprofit out of Atlanta. And these two guys have, I think, 1 million followers between the two of them on TikTok and Instagram. And just getting the word out ahead of time got people so excited because they, like you saw with that video at the beginning, they really tapped into the emotional side of wanting to find love with someone who's compatible with your cat-friendly lifestyle.
Okay, cool. Well, I don't know if I can, I'll maybe talk a little bit about some of the tuning. There's a lot of stuff that we've done since launch, and it's ongoing, but some of the really good stuff that we've seen is, number one, that kind of the trust in the brand and the loyalty we're seeing in the double opt-in rates. So the people who are, for example, signing up and then kind of validating their email addresses with us. So it's you know, it's almost 97%, which is absolutely fantastic and higher than anything we've seen on our platform today. So that's a great sign of real engagement with the brand right from the beginning when people are kind of signing up. And then also since launch, we've done a lot of work on the onboarding flow. We've swapped around a few steps. We kind of changed wording. We changed the kind of language. I know Leigh, you and Casey were quite involved in that. And then so the ratio of people fully completing out a profile, with a kind of detailed description and photos and things like that. So that completed profile rate has increased by 34% just in the months since launch. So there's a huge amount that can be done in terms of tuning a brand, and there's obviously lots more to come on that. I was going to say on the lockdown specifically, it's, in terms of statistics that we've seen, we say, they are bad for people. I'm, going a little bit crazy. I'm in an empty corridor, in an empty office, paying rent, which is great. But yeah, the lockdowns, they're just not great for people. However, for dating businesses, they're not exactly terrible. So we have seen boosts in, there's a lot more people stuck at home online for good or ill, while we kind of beat this nasty virus. So spending that time online, does help online businesses. So we've seen a lot of change in terms of the amount of time that people spend in a session has increased by about 10%. And during lockdowns in specific areas, we've seen kind of upgrade rates increase again by about kind of 18%. Again, it's not something you want to celebrate, given the circumstances, but it certainly shows that online businesses there can be benefits, I guess, from all of this stuff. And some of the other kind of behaviors we've seen, I was just chatting to some of our guys this morning, and they just got some really interesting stats around blogging. So a lot of people kind of writing longer form content has gone up by, it's like over 400% now since lockdown. So people are much more interested in not only consuming content, but a lot of people are now kind of taking the plunge and go, okay, well, I'm stuck around here. I really want to talk about cats, and at least I've got an audience here, so maybe I can write something about cats or whatever it is I'm interested in. But certainly across the different niches, we're seeing that that blogging intent has gone up along with some of the other kind of lockdown specific behaviors. So it is pushing a lot more people into online or engaging with online tools much more than they have before, in just the same way as businesses are and people are learning how to do Zoom just for homeschooling or for everything else. So people are becoming a lot more comfortable with these kind of online tools. And I would just say, just to wrap it up, I know Leigh, you've got injections to get and rockets to launch soon. So just when you do bring all of this stuff together and then focus on the complete customer journey, focus on speaking to your audience in the right way, you can see the seeds of success. And already we're seeing a much higher, 50% higher member retention than we are on many of our other kind of dating brands, because this integration is done. It's done so tightly and so well. I think there's a fantastic future. And the great thing about retention is that is the compound interest really for dating businesses, in that really does drive growth and continued and sustained growth over a long period of time. So we're really at the kind of the start of this. There's plenty more to come on it, but I'll just kind of leave you at that. Maybe Leigh, you can have a few kind of closing comments. But in short, if you've got friends with cats or dogs, actually send them to Dig. But if friends with cats, send them to Tabby Dates. If you're interested in building an app, or in the process of building an app, and you're looking for funding or infrastructure, stuff like that, come talk to us at HubStars. So Leigh, any closing comments from you before we do Q&A?
You certainly hit it all. You can find us at Tabby Dates or tabbydates.com. And like Michael said, we are on the App Store, Google Play, and website for you to log in.
Super. So Dom, have we run too late?
Hello. No, that was fantastic. We've got plenty of time for questions. I've just seen Simon Corbett. A few of you may have heard of him. He's chucked something in. He's just said, what's the next niche after dogs and cats? I think that's a question you get a lot, Leigh, but here we go.
I can tell you we do get that question all the time. The number one request is horses and birds, but no promises.
I know someone in my house thinks bunnies would be better, but
yeah, no, the world of pets and animals gets really interesting, obviously beyond cats and dogs, which is your biggest percentage. But what's actually biggest next is multi-pet ownership. So people with, cats, dogs, and birds.
Yeah, I can imagine, because I think the bond between human and dog and human and cat is just so much more than, I guess, than is the connection between human and rabbit. I'm sure that's not true for everyone, but it might be true in
I didn't say that, you said that. But yeah, what's really interesting about cat people compared to dog people is that cat people say they are animal lovers, where dog people say they are dog lovers. And so we're already kind of tapping into this world of people who want to be seen as more, all animal friendly. So we're nearly there.
I guess, Leigh, I'll just sort of ask you quickly. Michael said a lot of nice things about you there, so I was just sort of maybe giving you the chance to repay the favor there. Just sort of maybe just talk about how beneficial sort of everything that you've done with HubStars has been. How has that sort of helped you grow, especially over this time?
No, I'm so glad you did say that. So one of the things you touched on, Michael, was just your years of experience and data you bring. And so I can say when we have conversations and we've got all these exciting ideas that pet lovers we know would love and would go crazy about, we have this wealth of knowledge and a calm head to tell us, this isn't exactly something that's worked in the past. Here's 15 years worth of data on why, for example. And that is so unbelievably valuable. You're still able to come to a place that is going to be more valuable and beneficial for your users and your members. But as a new business and as a small business without, the wealth of employees and data at your fingertips, being able to work with someone like Michael and his team to come to the best result from a business standpoint and from a cat lover's standpoint is extraordinarily valuable.
Michael, I guess that will sort of lead me on nicely. This whole thing started from the $1 million dating project. Could you maybe talk a little bit more about sort of how that went in general and maybe some of the other brands you're working with, and if there's plans to continue in the future and do it again?
Yeah, well, we're carrying on. What I haven't thought about, there's a bunch of other brands we're working with. We're a bit more in development with some of those. Probably, as you might imagine, given the depth of the integration, we have to be a little bit more picky because there's a lot more work in them. But I think it's a better investment for the long term. So we're finding that even just having the conversation with the project, so we're keeping it running, frankly, and I haven't really checked in what the numbers at in terms of what's paid out and everything, but we are seeing a long-term value, because we're kind of basically becoming partners in the success of these brands and these ideas. So it is a worthwhile investment if you do have that depth of retention, and we will still operate on a revenue share basis anyway. So it really only works if it works for everybody. So I know there's a Corey guy down in Australia. He's got his drinks brand. I haven't spoken to Corey in a while, so I'm not sure where that is. There's a few others that we've got in the works as well. So
I'll jump in, and what Michael said is basically we're working with cats, we're working with dogs, but we're kind of the guinea pigs here. And so it's been fun to see how Michael and his team is looking at this incredible project and opportunity for other dating apps, while also kind of filing their nails on exactly the best way to move forward with this. So that's been really fun from behind the scenes on our point too.
Yeah, that's a really nice way of saying hopefully it'll be less painful for the next guys. But we're figuring out how to do this, and a lot of this these new features and customizations. It's the first time really deploying them in the field. So we're learning a lot on the job in terms of the most efficient ways of communicating and launching and releasing a lot of those changes, as Leigh says. So it does get more kind of efficient, and the more you kind of replicate the process. But anyway, we're not taking your attention off Tabby. So, but if anyone else is interested, do come talk to us. Like I said, we can't say yes to everything, but if it's a good idea and we think there's a good market behind it, we'll definitely put our weight in our dollars behind it too.
Brilliant. Just one quick final thing from me. I'll ask probably to both of you. Michael, you said that obviously this time has been terrible for humans, but it's been good in terms of growth for the online dating industry. When sort of lockdowns are a thing of the past, hopefully soon, you said, do you think the online dating industry's growth, do you reckon it will peak? Do you reckon it will slow down, or do you think we'll sort of see it just to continue to grow at the sort of the rate we're seeing it grow now?
Leigh, do you want to go first? I've got very specific.
Yeah, I'd love to. People are excited to meet in person, and they're finding that this is a great way to make that first step. And that's not going to change when things open. But a lot of the features that we've been planning for have always been with the idea in mind of getting you out in person. We've had to scale back on that, not grow that, because we want to be really safe and make sure we're not sending people to unsafe events or unsafe, businesses that don't have ventilation or whatever it may be. And so everything that's being built right now and these trends we're seeing right now, it's working even in lockdown, and it's growing because people are recognizing how well it works. And I don't see that changing when things open.
Yeah, no, I would agree with Leigh. I think that the demand is there and will always be there. I think, and you'll probably say, of course I'm going to say this, but I think the growth in demand will be in the niche brands that can cater, give a more kind of boutique and kind of experience, and can retain people longer, because this is a community of people. And one of the things we found in this lockdown, the communities aspect has been growing in terms of the interaction of people. And as long as you can support and nurture that, I think there's always going to be great growth there. I think more generalist brands, I think might weather a little bit rougher on this, but I think generally in the niche areas, there's just a growing demand. And once a lot of times people are just unaware that there's dating for people with cats, and once they find out, they don't really want to go back to other stuff. So I think the growth will be there, and I think we're in a good position to capitalize on that growth. And
for Tabby, cats aren't going anywhere when things open. So the idea of getting to date with your cat, even outside of lockdown, Tabby's in a perfect situation for it. Your cats aren't going anywhere. Unless you have an adventure cat and you've got the backpack that you're able to bring your cat with you, everything like that, that world is expanding for sure. But in terms of the perfect app to launch during lockdown that will exist beyond lockdown, cat people makes the most sense.
Yeah. Plus, everyone's buying pets. Have you seen? I mean, people are telling me, it's £3,000 for a puppy. I'm like, when did that happen? When I grew up, people were like, they were on the way to a bridge, and they offered you one out of a sack. It's just, okay, that's not really true. But
also, for the first time ever, our rescue partners are saying that they've got empty shelters. So not only are people paying top dollar in Michael's neck of the woods, but what's really exciting for us is the rescue world. And so exactly, you've got more people who are going to be at home with their cats, even beyond vaccine times. And so we're really excited to see where that goes.
Fantastic. So I think that might be a good place to wrap up. Hope we didn't keep you for too long, Leigh. So just want to quickly say thank you to you both again. Fantastic presentation, and fantastic to hear sort of the both of you speak about everything that's going on with you personally, but then also the industry in general as well. I'll say to everyone who's watching, we were recording that session, so you'll get an email of that session tomorrow. And if you think of any questions sort of this evening or tomorrow or next week or whatever, just send it over to me and I will forward it on to Leigh or Michael, and we'll get you an answer as soon as possible. And then just to wrap up in terms of GDI things, we've got the annual Power Book coming out on the 15th of February. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. A lot of work's going into that, so I hope some people read it. And our next webinar will be on the 18th of February. That's with Adam Cohen-Aslati from Small. He's going to be talking all about the rise of not superficial dating, anti-superficial dating. You will not like me saying that. We're seeing a lot more apps come out who are into the messaging and getting to know each other before seeing each other, seeing each other's pictures. He's also going to talk about his new reality TV show that Small are launching, and how dating apps are going to be expanding into different media areas. So the announcement will be on the website on Monday, so make sure you sign up and get ready for that. So yeah, amazing. Thank you very much, guys, and all the best, and see you very soon.
Thanks, Dominic, and congratulations, Adam, on your funding. So that's great news.
Yes, congratulations, Adam. Thank you, Dom.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Okay, cheers. Bye. Bye-bye.